Hi, I'm Lloyd Hardy, and I'm asking you to sign my petition to allow us to be able to vote online on questions that we want ministers in the government and special advisors to answer. And the reason we need to do this is because we can't do that with a petition right now. So we can use a petition to create the online polls that we can do that. Why? Why is it important? Well, if you have a look at the links in the description, you'll be able to see that they link to articles that show evidence of how the 2016 EU referendum was hacked, evidence of foreign interference in our elections, and evidence of how AI companies have used bots, fake news, and propaganda to destroy our democracy. So we need to combat that. We need a solution. So what we need is an open source, transparent, public control poll that holds ministers and special advisors to account for their policies and their actions that we can vote on at any time and change our minds if we want to. If we're able to bank online, then we're able to securely vote online, and not just online but from anywhere we want to be accessible to everybody. Council offices, from public places, by phone, all the same ways that we can bank. There's no argument for security to stop that. So voting is very important in a democracy, obviously, and we don't really get to do that enough. So at the moment, the problem with polls that exist is that they're bought, they're paid for and commissioned by political parties or pressure groups. They set the questions, and they can then choose if they do or don't show the results. And newspapers report the polls that they want to report, and you can see in opinions in the editorials that they can have a completely opposite story for the same poll. So we don't want to see that. We want to see this happen. We want to see the truth. I want to see real democracy, even if it's not what I agree with, because I trust people. I think that when people aren't tricked, when elections aren't hacked, that people make decisions on the whole, the majority of people, that are right. I think that 60% people are not racist. I think that at least 60% people in the UK don't discriminate. I think most people, the vast majority of people, are hardworking, good people who want to support society, want to support the community, disabled people, vulnerable people, and they want to get poor, disadvantaged people into jobs. I think most people do believe that Black Lives Matter, and I think most people don't want asylum seekers to drown in the Channel. So if we take away that corruption in the voting process, and we do it more, it makes it much more difficult to hack if it's happening all the time. Because the way that they do it is that they use psychographic targeted ads within days or hours of a vote. So if the vote's happening all the time, there's no actual deadline for a vote. There's just a measurement of public opinion. It's impossible to do what they've done. So the problem that we're facing, and this is why I need your support, is the minority who are actually controlling our government right now don't want online polls. They don't even want MPs to vote online remotely. They want you to believe that you had one say on Europe, and democracy on that issue is finished by calling that democracy. They want to recognise that the democratic majority of the UK, they don't want to recognise that the majority want to remain in the EU now, and they've changed their minds. So if you sign this petition, you can make them face that reality, that things change. And if you can imagine right across the strap line on the news with a politician doing the opposite of the will of the people, for example, when 60 Conservative MPs joined over 7% of the population calling for Dominic Cummings to resign, and we had ministers saying no, didn't break the law, even though the police let us know that he did. He broke lockdown rules, with that strap line telling us what people want. So if we have people, the ministers, special advisors, saying what they want to say, and have the people saying what they want to say who are paying their salaries, it might be more compelling to have that in real time. And it would empower you. You would be able to respond. You wouldn't feel disenfranchised. You could say, hey, I think this is wrong. You could authenticate yourself, press a button, and then tell the world, tell the country tell everybody that it's wrong, and you'll be heard and you'll be counted all of the time on whatever you feel is really important. So you don't have that now. You don't have a say in what people do, and you can't express how you feel for or against any of the issues. You just have to go into social media and then be attacked or by bots or manipulated by fake news, and that's not democracy. So we don't just need to vote. Obviously, we need to solve the propaganda problem. So we also need cited reference discussion. So we need low interference, open source, free software that's owned by the public. I'm a programmer myself who makes free software. There's about 1.5 million free software developers in the world. So we can have transparent, ethical, peer-reviewed AI algorithms that help to keep it tidy, but low interference. So people are making all the decisions. The AI might just be helping to suggest if this poll that you want to run is the same as another one. If you're sure it's not, then obviously you can run it separately. But the more people who have the same idea for a question or a poll, the more people that come together, then the bigger response, the bigger sample they'll get for that poll, and then the more effective that will obviously be for the public to hold the politicians to account. So it's most important that we see people speak with humanity, because a lot of the issues that we want to talk about are something that are things that really affect us personally. This is not just about economic choices or European financial legislation that protect us from things that happened in 2008. But I mean, we are humans with hearts. We need to ask questions about how politicians handled and are handling the coronavirus pandemic. We've had over 60,000 deaths from COVID-19 in the UK. That's one of the highest in the world. And if you sign this petition, we can hold people accountable for losing our loved ones and not being able to attend their funerals because they followed Dominic Cummings' herd immunity plan in the early stages of the pandemic. Together we can stop them, and they want you to lose hope. Don't. Please sign the petition so we can make sure there's no bias, there's no corruption, and there's no digital electoral fraud together. Thanks. When you do sign, don't forget to confirm your email address and check your spam folder if it's there. And please feel free to connect. And thank you. Take care. Bye.